When you go to a lot of these funerals and services and celebration of life events, you know, I could tell you that I've never heard anybody that said, oh my God, you know, this person drive the nicest car, have the nicest home. What they remember is how this person has given, has touched the lives of others. Welcome to Love, Listings, and Legacy, where love, community, and building a lasting impact meet. We are Mony and Sophaline, a husband and wife real estate team, sharing our perspectives on life, real estate, and philanthropy, our stories about resilience and service. Join us each week as we share our journey of life, business, and giving back, all while building a legacy for our family and community. This is Love, Listings, and Legacy, where hearts, homes, and philanthropy come together. Let's get started.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Love, Listings, and Legacy with
Mony Nop
and Sophaline Mao. And in today's episode, Mony and I wanted to take some time and just kind of pause and address something that is very near and dear to our hearts. And so in this episode of Giving Back Through Real Estate, we're going to talk about impact beyond transactions. So you excited?
I'm very excited. This is a subject that's near dear to my heart, and I love sharing, I love giving, to especially back to the community. So I could give examples after examples and how it translates back into transaction, and it's given me tenfold for everything that I've done.
Absolutely. So I think in our theme today, our discussion topic, we want to really hone in on real estate, and that it's not just about buying and selling, it's about making a lasting impact on our communities. And so for those of you who are tuning in, who have liked and followed and subscribed to our podcast, thank you. Thank you so much. Mony and I appreciate it, and we really hope that you continue to follow us. And if you have any episode ideas, anything that you want us to touch on, please definitely leave it in the comments. So as we get started, I'm going to turn this over to my husband here, because I know this is a topic that he's super passionate about and has devoted his life. So let's go ahead and, talk about why community service matters. Before we get into why it matters in real estate, why don't we have Mony share with us why community service matters to him as an individual?
It matters to me because I grew up, really, really poor. I mean, I remember, working in the fields with the Mexican and Hispanic and working all the way to Oregon, making $20 a day. And I didn't have a lot. We were having, literally, I had maybe one or two pair of shoes if I'm lucky to go to school. And I had like 4 pairs of pants in high school just to go to school. So, I mean, we just grew up not having a lot. And in fact, my first job, I didn't even know, one of my first jobs was at McDonald's. And my father had always bought us hamburgers. So I didn't know what a cheeseburger was. I remember my manager asking me to make a chicken sandwich. I'm like, okay, what is a chicken sandwich? That's how naive I was, or how, it's just so little information that I knew at the time when I was about 16 years old. I was just, only been in the United States of America for about 5 years, and I just only learned what I can learn in my 5 years in the United States, but I just didn't have a lot. So in essence, now that we have this blessed life today, how do you turn your back on where you came from and not give? So we've been really, really blessed to have met so many incredible people and so many of you in the community that gave us so much and allow us to give back to the community. So we have to do it. It's a requirement. It's in our core values right here in our.
Behind where I'm sitting.
Giving back is one of them. It's one of the 4 core values that we have with Mony Nop Real Estate, and it's a must every day. And everything that we do, we must think of that way. And in return, you receive so much more. So why not do that?
Absolutely. And my husband couldn't say it any better than that. I think giving back is such a core part of us as humans. I think before we even implement it in our business, I think that Mony and I as individuals, I think giving back, even way before Mony and I even knew of each other, even met and started our lives together. Similar to Mony, giving back to me is important because I also too come from very humble beginnings, and Mony and I sharing a heritage of obviously, being of Cambodian descent and having our parents come as refugees and then ourselves coming as very young refugees. I think that also sparked a huge why we give back. And one thing to add to what my husband said is that I think for me being brought up in a very humble family, my parents have always instilled in me that when you do better, don't forget to look. There's a Cambodian saying like, don't look above you, but look below you. And that basically means like, don't look at what you don't have, look at what you do have, but then also give back. And that also, I think, comes from a lot of the Buddhist principles of how I was raised. And so now, fast forwarding to nowadays that Mony and I are, business partners at Mony Nop Real Estate, giving back is such a core part of our business. And so I'm going to offer, this time up to Mony, and maybe he can share, just maybe any personal stories of perhaps how have you been able to connect your giving back, your nonprofit background with building a successful business?
Yeah, I mean, we just do it in so many ways through sponsorship in the community. I'll give you an example. I was in a Rotary Club, involved in a Rotary Club a while back, and I met during the process. I was in charge. I was the chairman of the committee for mini grants, and as a result, I met Dr. Laura Limbo at Joe Mitchell School. And when I met her through the grant, and as a result, I taught all their staff how to write for grants and ask for money. And since I wasn't getting in charge of it, I have a pretty good idea of how to write these grants. So I got the chance to meet with all the teachers. As a result of meeting the teachers and meeting Dr. Laura Limbo, I just fell in love with the school. And I have this affinity for the teachers and school is because I grew up really poor, and I met my sixth grade teacher. Not sixth grade teacher. I'm sorry. My third grade teacher when I first arrived in the United States,
right.
Mrs. Charlie Young, whom I still talk to today, all 40 years later. So it's incredible, right? So I've always had this affinity for schools and teachers. And as a result of meeting Dr. Limbo, I said, we'd love to start a teacher appreciation program. And I said, you select a teacher per month, and I give you a basket, and we can present it at the assembly. Well, that also turned into luncheons for the teachers. So we've been doing luncheons for the teacher at Joe Mitchell, and also support their PTO, support their Teachers Basket program for 8 years now and running.
Yeah, we still
And
do.
as a result, we actually bought and sold some homes with some of the staff there. So, and again, it wasn't about the buying and selling of a home first, but it was rather an opportunity to give back to something that made such a difference in my life. And that's always what we look for. And to me, no matter what I gave back, whether it's a small thing, whether it's an email introduction or a phone call to somebody and fundraise for them, I got them a grant for a garden or something, it makes me happiest every day that I get a chance to do such small thing, but it makes such a difference for the lives of others, and also especially the lives of the children and the students and the families of this community. And that's what makes me smile every day.
Oh, that was beautiful. I think for those of our audience who may be real estate professionals, absolutely our day-to-day transactions, helping our clients, closing deals, dealing with the day-to-day operations of running a smooth transaction are important at the core of what we do. But keep in mind that, as a community member, you too can shape your community. And I think also, if I may, I feel that part of that is building trust and a relationship with your local community. And so for many of us, it could be a faith-based organization, such as your local church, temple where you belong. For Mony, as he shared, his affinity towards educators, right? You love teachers
and the nonprofit sector.
And just he found a love for nonprofits. But I think Mony has a soft spot in his heart for schools, because I think as a young child, he didn't have access to education. And so later on in our episode, we're going to dive into a little bit more about the work that we do. But the reason why I bring this up is that for for our friends and our colleagues who may be tuning in, I think that, as a real estate professional, absolutely you need to know your craft. You need to be the most professional that you can be in this industry, but also too that there is a human side of it, and that you can impact lives right here in your local backyard.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I'm gonna throw one more point too. That I'm 52 now, and of course, as you get older, you go to sadly a lot of funerals as well, right?
right.
When you go to a lot of these funerals and services and celebration of life events, I could tell you that I've never heard anybody that said, "Oh my God, this person drive the nicest car, have the nicest home." What they remember is how this person has given, has touched the lives of others, whether it's through an email introduction, like I said, or whether it's through a small grant. It's a smile that they save them from something. They made a donation to change someone's lives medically in such a small way. That's what really matters. Really, it comes down to it, right?
Right.
It doesn't matter what kind of car you drive or what kind of house you have, but what they remember is like, what did you do? And then that's actually my greatest life goal, is to be a philanthropist. I am a philanthropist. I want to be known more for that than being a police officer, being a realtor, being a great realtor, a great police officer. None of that matters to me. It's about how do I give and how do I want to remember. That's how I've always want to be remembered for. So.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect connection back to, real estate. Obviously, in order to fill others' cups, we have to fill our cup full. And I think for a lot of our clients, and many of them choose to work with Mony and I, is because they know that not only are we skilled professionals in handling a real estate transaction, but we also are community-minded business owners, where we do believe in impacting the local communities and giving back. And so some of the activities that we do, we also invite our clients to join, such as our annual Mony Nop Turkey Drop. For myself, serving on the board of Tri-Valley Haven here locally, where we support survivors of domestic violence, whereas most of them are women and children fleeing abusive homes, and then further having to experience, homelessness and dealing with mental health issues. And so for us, we truly care, and I think it comes out in how we serve our clients. And so, Mony touched on, when you go to someone's celebration of life, and when we talk about their legacy, the legacy is the impact that you have that you may not know of. And so I thought it'd be really interesting, maybe if, Mony can maybe touch on that, a little bit. I think maybe it'd be interesting even just for you as my husband, just understanding kind of like that legacy. And you mentioned wanting to be known as a philanthropist locally here in the community. As other professionals that we come across, like, how can serving the community strengthen your own, let's just say, real estate brand? Because we also want to offer nuggets of any, wisdom we have.
Well, first of all, it's about, you have to ask your question when you're in the business, whether it's real estate or any business. What is it that you want to be known for? Start with your core values, write those core values down, and once you have it down and you finalize it, you truly become known for who you are as a result of those process and writing those things down. So I think that's really, really important to do that at first. That's how we came up with the core values of 4: giving back, serving with integrity, delivering wow service, and then growing leaders. Everyone that we come in contact with, especially when they're working along with me, I want to grow leaders. At the Las Positas College, I'm the program coordinator for the President Scholars Program. I want to grow leaders. I help them grow leaders. I have an opportunity to teach leadership to them once a month. In fact, the next leadership session in a couple of weeks is on ethical and moral leadership with the 40 students. That's amazing that I have this opportunity to do. But sometimes it's what I get the greatest satisfaction. For example, the other day I called a garage door company to come fix the garage door of one of the homes we just bought.
Right.
And sure enough, a gal called me back. His name's Allie. Allie goes, "Oh my God, Officer Nop. Officer Nop, you're my DARE teacher," right? And we had this great conversation for a few minutes before we even talk about the garage door. So she still remembered that, from 5th grade. That was 20 plus years ago,
Yep.
So and that's really like, after I was done, I'm like, oh my God, I made my day. Like, I mean, she made me feel older, but it also made my day.
She
But
remembered you.
She remembered me,
From
so.
fifth grade.
From fifth grade,
That's
so I mean,
incredible.
that's an ongoing occurrence in my life. Every time I go in a community, I see people, I talk to them, I take the time to ask them questions and, really want to hear what they have to say. And then that's what it comes down to. So.
Absolutely. Well, I think the brand, going back to the question about building a business brand, right? It doesn't matter if you're in real estate, you could be a local business here, but I think a brand is memorable. And I think Mony just kind of shared that story with us about a former fifth grader who remembered him as Officer Nop from her DARE program. That is branding because it's branded in her mind that, oh my gosh, I know that guy. He was my DARE officer. Definitely building a brand is unforgettable. And so I think, when we circle back to brand building as a real estate team or as a local business, I think it attracts values aligned clients. And what I mean by that is that the clients that you attract are going to go with you, use your service, patron your business because they feel that you as a business owner share the same values that they have. And I think that's also really important. Sorry, go ahead.
I want to bring one more point to part of your brand is also, having a name recognition is one thing, which we do have here. But it's also, you have to have the depth and breadth and value that you're going to bring in. You got to have the depth of knowledge. For example, in the real estate industry, the top agents, well, first of all, most agents sell between 1 or 2 homes. An average agent sells between 4 to 6 homes per year, and the top agent sells multiple homes, like 10 or 20 or 30 or 40, 50. And we're lucky that we're part of the top 10% that do 90% of the work. But having a recognition allows you to get inside the home. And once you're inside the home, you articulate it with facts and figures and your knowledge and in-depth industry of what needs to be done. For example, you could ask me any questions about real estate. I've sold over 400 homes now, not because I'm better than anybody else, but I know the nitty-gritty, the nuts and bolts of the business. So because I could speak and regurgitate that from memory,
Right.
Usually people go, wow, you really know what you're doing. Let me hire you. I've done this in class where I've taught real estate courses on how to write contracts or how the process of listing a home, master the art of listing a house when you do so. So I met so many agents as a result of doing it. And as a result, some of them end up hiring me, even though they are a licensed real estate agent themselves. At the end of the day, people want to hire the best of the best, but you got to back it up not only because of name recognition, you got to back it up with giving, but you got to back it with facts and figures and the depth of knowledge that you can bring to the table to make their lives better, to get them the most money for their home. And in doing so, you'll be able to articulate specific things that they need to do rather than doing everything all at the same time.
Right. I think that goes hand in hand with any profession. If you have an injury, you're going to want to go to the best surgeon. When you're sick, you want the best doctor, right? And so I think what Mony is saying, I totally agree. And I think it's all about when you are coming out, I mean, especially in this industry, who knows you, who likes you, and who trusts you. So I think those are great nuggets of wisdom. And I think as we were segueing from Mony's great insights into, giving back and what that means as you're building a real estate business, one of the things I wanted to comment was that if it's important to you, you're going to make it a budget line item as you're doing your business planning. But let's share in a more specific way in terms of like the initiatives that we do, the projects, the fun things that we get to do. So I'm going to ask my husband here, out of all the year's events, like what is the one giving back event that you, Mony Nop, are most excited about?
My favorite event that I've done so far of all the many events, a couple of things that's flashing through my mind right now. One is a comedy show. I hired a professional comedian.
Oh wow!
And I also had a skit team that did impromptu skit.
Improv.
Yeah, improv. So
comedy,
I did. We did an improv for like 30 minutes.
That's
and
cool.
We did a 45 minutes professional comedian to come in and we had about 400 people came to this event. That's a client event. So we've done some major stuff. That was a lot of fun.
That's cool.
And then the probably one of the best things we ever did was in our backyard, where we hired 3 violinists, and they came and we set up the whole. We had a catered event. We had bartenders. I mean, all professional. They dressed professionally. We had catered food. We had 3 violinists in our backyard with candles lit in the whole 9 yard, and just playing classical music or whatever music that we picked out ahead of time with their violins. Oh my Lord, I thought I was in heaven because it was so much fun. I truly enjoyed it, truly enjoyed the music. And I know they did too, because they're like, oh my God, this is one of the best things that ever happened. And it's so private in our backyard. We have about, 40, 50 people back there. And that's what we got to do. So those are some of my favorite events that I could think of. How about you?
Well, yeah, no, I think I was, for me, one that stands out that is pretty well branded, I think, is the Mony Nop Turkey Drop. And when we talk about integrating giving back as part of our business, Mony's been doing it for 9 years. Will this be our 10th?
10th year. It's going to be 10th
Oh
year.
my goodness.
Yeah.
So this is going to be his 10th year and like my fourth or fifth year, fourth maybe year. But anyway, for me personally, I think that is the one event that I feel like is so unique because number one, nobody else has Mony Nop as their name. Secondly, nobody else dresses up as 2 turkeys like Mony and I do. And thirdly, it is an event that specifically goes to local families right here in our own Tri-Valley community. And so we serve families right here in our own backyard that are going through a very difficult time. And I was also going to comment, it actually, yesterday was my Leadership Livermore Social Services Day, and just getting to know all of the nonprofits that serve our community in terms of social services, it was just so incredible. We're talking about Open Heart Kitchen, Goodness Village, Access Community Health, and then we also learned about all the nonprofits that are housed in the Common Point with Tri-Valley Nonprofit Alliance. And, there's organizations that handle mental health all the way to helping with childcare subsidies, providing diapers for parents. And also we learned of one where they help families on the cusp of homelessness. So it's usually a situation with like employment, where they're helping someone to prevent it's homelessness prevention, which many of us don't think about because there's a stereotype of when we think about the unhoused, we think about when people are, having to, be on the streets. We don't think about the people who are at risk of that. And so it was just really fantastic. But anyway, I am a little bit newer to this community. I've been here as long as Mony and I have been married, so just 3 years. And for me, part of that part of joining the real estate business was I really wanted to be intentional about also building my brand. Obviously, Mony's been here since he was a police officer. People remember him as a DARE officer, or maybe he gave them their first ticket, to doing real estate. And so for me, as his wife and for his business partner, coming to this community and having to rebrand myself to my sphere of influence and my former, industry, which was, I was in tech, and that's for me has been like the journey. And that's why I think for me, it's important to be a part of the community because I am here now, and this is my home and this is my community, and I need to also be an engaged member of it.
Well, first of all, thank you for bringing up the Tri-Valley Nonprofit Alliance. Tri-Valley Nonprofit Alliance, where she met yesterday, was an organization that I was a part of for 11 years ago, actually. I met my co-founder, Kathy Young, in the elevator, and we formed this organization. To that point, it's about bringing the resources and then let people know that there are people in need in our community here in the Tri-Valley, and also bringing resources to help them in the process. Absolutely. So that's what we started, and that's what you heard. But as a result of that, as the co-founder of Tri-Valley Nonprofit Alliance, I've met so many nonprofit organizations and people in it, and I just come to love them so much and how they serve the community. It's been an amazing journey in itself. But for me, when you think about a real estate individual, for example, in order to serve the community, you can't just serve, half-heartedly or three-quarter heartedly. You got to serve wholeheartedly, meaning that you have to know the community you're serving.
Absolutely.
What resources are available, what's happening, what are the issues within the community. So this way, if you know the resources and you know the problems, then you can bring the resource to the problem.
Absolutely.
And that's what I get to do. And as a result, you become the resource go-to person for the community. And so when they talk to you about that first, you could ask them about, hey, have you thought about buying and selling a home? So as a result of people buying, selling homes with us, we get to take that money and give, first of all, dedicate a portion of it, 10 to 15% for marketing. And then we also dedicate a portion of it to give back to the community in sponsorships and other ways that we do. So that's a full circle. That's the way to serve. And you have to serve wholeheartedly and not a half or quarter or third-heartedly. That's what I'm trying to get at.
No, absolutely. I think, as we reflect on these specific, local initiatives that we are a part of, I think it goes back to, like Mony and I, the importance of legacy, and that it goes beyond financial wealth. And one of the things I heard today, I listened to Brian Buffini's podcast, and he said that, when someone's on their deathbed, they don't say like, hey, go get me my wallet, or like, go get me my checkbook. It's not about that. It's like, hey, go get me my family, go get me, the people who matter to me. And I think that's important, and also to want to challenge folks who are listening is shifting your mindset, shifting from focusing on what am I getting to what is the impact that I'm going to have. Right. And
how am I going to be impactful to the lives of others?
So along the lines of that is, again, it goes back to, the impact and creating that generational change, but it's a mindset shift. And one of the things that I'm noticing is that, sometimes if you have a bit of a background where you have a bit of a scarcity trauma, where you didn't grow up with a lot, maybe you've always been very conscious with finances and things like that. So when you look at things, you're always kind of a little bit more careful, a little bit more risk. Well, I was going to say risk adverse, risk adverse in terms of how you want to spend that. But the one thing I have to say, guys, is that you get what you put into the universe, and you give, and the universe will give back in tenfold. And it's not a tit for tat. It's not, like for like. So anyway, I think I want to go ahead and maybe throw this question back to my husband here, is about, when we, obviously it's in our title of our podcast, legacy. It's not just about financial success, but, what are some things that you as a father, as a grandfather, creating generational change and legacy, what does that mean to you? What have you learned from mentors, from family, or what have you learned from your past that you could maybe share with our audience today?
Wow. What I've learned is actually, it's about living your life passionately and then do what make you happiest. My happiest place is leaving the house early in the morning. Would have a little plan and strategies, the certain time to get out of home. And when I'm out here, I'm flexible in my maneuver in terms of what I need to do. I have set appointments, but all the hours I'm not in appointments, I have the flexibility to do other things. And my goal is actually just to seek opportunity to speak to people. I'm always on the phone about different things in the community that's happening, or people needing help with something, whether it's a grant or anything that I can refer people to. And that's what I get to do. And it's just living a life that you are proud of, that you're impactful. In fact, the greatest goal that I have is not about how much money I could bring in. That will happen if you do the right thing. You do the right thing, the money will follow, right? Mm-hmm. But for me, it's about how many lives can I touch? How many lives can I make a difference with? I really count those. I really count those like beans. I'm like a bean counting on how many lives I can touch, because man, there's nothing greater to me. Nothing makes me more happiest when I'm able to make a difference is in the lives of others, whether it's a small gesture or just something big or something small, something however little, but it's the fact that I'm able to make a difference in the lives of others, and that's what I want to do every day.
Well, I think Maya Angelou says that. There's a famous quote, she says, the impact is the lives that you've touched that you may not know. So that's why when we talk about giving back, we may never meet the people that we give back to. All the years that Mony and I have dressed in turkey costumes, we don't get to meet the families that we actually collected the turkeys for, but that's our legacy, that's our impact. And so, maybe that's how Mony and I really built our relationship, I think, is on those shared values. And that's how I think both of us in our own special way want to be remembered, once we're gone, right, in the community. And I think, for me, learning of those lessons, I think for me, having grown up here mostly in California, and, I came as a very young child, an infant at 5 months old, and living in Cambodia as an adult, I think that actually opened my eyes to truly what it means to give back, because this is a country that, you never actually had to survive in, but yet now you're here. As we're talking about legacy, Mony, what's your vision of how you want to be remembered in the community?
I think I've already said it, really being a philanthropist is what I want to be. I want to be able to give in every way that I can. I think of John Maxwell when you asked me that question. I think of one of his quotes. He said, there's two phases to life. There's a first phase and a second phase. The first phase is about collection. The second phase is about giving. So, when we first came to the United States of America as refugees and as a child that came from the war zone and refugee camps in multiple countries, you come here, you didn't have nothing. So basically, you're just here to learn and collect as much as you can. And I think that I will never have to worry about going to bed hungry ever again. And why? Because I've given so much. I have so many friends. I have real, true friends. Like I really, really have so many amazing, true friends. I could ask for certain things. For whatever I need, people will come to my rescue. And I believe in that. I just have so many friends. Because why? Because I've impacted their lives and their children's lives in so many other ways as well. So I've never have to worry about that. But really, it's just living the best life. Live it so passionately. Like my passion is to help other people. How can I help you and your family, whether it's a home, whether it's a grant, whether it's a garden, whether it's a connection, whether it's an email, whether it's just a phone call to introduce you to somebody to get you into the door. And that's what I do. And I'm just so blessed and grateful for all those opportunities and phone calls that I've received and asked to do and asked to be a part of so many things. And God, I sometimes I don't want to sleep because, as you know, I get up early in the morning, sometimes 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, because I have all these ideas and thoughts and then things running through my head because I'm so excited about the next day and about being involved in something. And that's why I live such a full life.
Yeah,
I feel so young. I feel like I'm 52, but I feel like I'm 30 years old. I'm ready to go every day. So.
Well, you better keep getting that beauty sleep, though, if you want to look like you're younger. I know I have to tell my husband about, sleep, beauty sleep. It does wonders. So yeah, honey, you got to sleep if you want to keep looking young. I think we're going to go ahead and probably end this off on a great note and maybe share some tips and maybe some ideas and how you can get involved with your local community. I think no matter if you're new to a city, new to an industry, there's always community groups that you could join, networking events, definitely volunteering at your local organizations, whether it's the local food bank or anywhere. There's so many opportunities out there. You just have to be intentional and committed to going out and seeking those out. Also, too, don't forget that if you have a special skill, educating, teaching, volunteering to teach, whether it's piano, whether it's playing the violin, or maybe you know how to do something really well, you can also go to a lot of these nonprofits and donate your skills and teach and lead a class. Those are also ways that you can get involved and give back. And so don't just think about giving back as writing a check. It could be donating your time. It could be like Mony said, he loves connecting, people to resources and others. And so as we, kind of wrap up here, I think, some of the key takeaways is that, find out what is your North Star. What causes are you passionate about? Maybe you grew up with a certain situation, maybe that need is still there. And so go and find an organization that focuses on that need. And I promise you're going to live such a purposeful life. So that's kind of my advice for everyone is like, get out there and seek it out. And no matter what business, we happen to be in real estate. And so that's why a lot of our content centers around real estate, but it doesn't have to apply to just real estate. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to my husband here and see if he has any key takeaways or words of encouragement.
No, I think you said it perfectly. I do have a quote I want to share with you that is one of my favorite quotes. Actually, I have it on our home and on a mural. Our home, we're probably the only home in Livermore that has murals on all three sides of our home. But on the mural, there's a quote that's from Mother Teresa, which is one of my favorite quotes of all time. It says, she said that, do things for other people, not because of who they are or what you can expect in return, but it's because of who you are. So I think of that often. I just give because next thing you know, I'm getting paid tenfold. I mean, I can give you examples after example after example what has happened to me as a result of doing that. So that's what I think. But go out there, live your life passionately, and if you're feeling bad about yourself or your circumstance, whether you don't have enough, whatever, just go out there and give to other people. I promise you, you will feel so much better about yourself and your life, because when you really think about it, you probably have more than so many other people that you can't even imagine. So live your best life is all I can say.
That's a beautiful ending. And so with that said, we hope that this episode of Giving Back Through Real Estate and Understanding Your Impact Beyond Transactions was really valuable. And we hope that it was you found it inspiring and that it moves you to take some action. And so with that said, Mony and I want to thank you so much for tuning in. And if you really loved the content that you heard today, please don't forget to follow and subscribe to our Love Listings and Legacy podcast on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. We also have our Facebook, Instagram channels where you can also check it out, and as well as LinkedIn. So anywhere you'd like to find us, we are there. And we really, truly thank you so much for tuning in. So we'll check you out at the next episode of Love, Listings, and Legacy.
See you next time. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you for joining Love, Listings, and Legacy this week. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. If you haven't yet, go to Apple Podcasts and Spotify to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast. Join us next time as we continue to navigate the path from adversity to success, one property and one purpose-driven decision at a time. Thanks for listening.